Hello everyone and welcome back. In today's lecture, we'll be covering the divisions of the abdomen into quadrants and into regions. But before doing that, it's best that we describe what the abdomen is, or the abdominal area. Now, the abdominal area is that part of the trunk that is located between the thorax above and the pelvis below. So if this whole area is the thorax above and this aspect is the pelvis below, essentially what we are saying is that the area between this and this whole area in red margin is the abdominal area. And let's talk about the boundaries. Now, the abdominal area is bounded superiorly by the thoracic diaphragm. This is labeled the thoracic diaphragm, and it is bounded inferiorly by the pelvic cavity. So superiorly by the thoracic diaphragm and inferiorly by the pelvic cavity. It's bounded anteriorly and laterally by the muscles of the anterior abdominal wall. We'll see get to that in one of our videos. Then posteriorly, it is bounded by the posterior abdominal muscles and also the psoas major. Now, before going into the divisions, into the quadrants and into regions, it is very important we know the reason why this division is very essential. And one of it is that it's very important in locating organs. Another very important aspect, or probably another important reason why we need to understand the division into quadrants and into regions, is that it is also important in describing organs. It's also important in clinical diagnosis for clinicians. It's also very important in physical examination, and also very important in surgical referencing. So let's move straight to the division into 4 quadrants. Now, to best understand this, we need to know the lines that helps in dividing this abdominal part into the 4 quadrants. Now, we have 2 lines. We have a vertical line and an horizontal line. Now, the vertical line is called the mid-sagittal line. This is the mid-sagittal line. And if you recall, in one of our previous videos, we said the sagittal line is that line that divides the body into 2 equal halves, right? Left and right. So this mid-sagittal line is the first line that divides the body to form the 4 quadrants. And the second line is the transumbilical plane. And this is just slightly above, or probably through, the umbilicus. Now, we have 2 lines that divides the abdomen into 4 quadrants. The first one is the mid-sagittal line. This is the vertical line through the umbilicus. And we have the transumbilical line. That is that line through the umbilicus. Now, this divides the abdomen into 4 quadrants essentially. So this side is the right and this side is the left. So this side is the right upper quadrant. This is the left upper quadrant. This is the right lower quadrant, and this is the left lower quadrant. So once again, 2 lines divide the abdomen into 4 different sections, which is the mid-sagittal line and the transumbilical line also. So this line divides it vertically, this divides it horizontally. Now, earlier we said that it is very important that we understand this division because they are very important in locating organs and in also describing them. So let's talk about the organs that we can find in the right upper quadrant, in the left upper quadrant, in the right lower quadrant, and the left lower quadrant. Now, in this right upper quadrant, you can find the liver, you can find the gallbladder, you can find the duodenum, you can find the right kidney, you can also find the head of pancreas. So here is the right upper quadrant here. You can see the liver here. You can see the liver here. You can see the head of pancreas here also. Then the right kidney is somewhere around that side. Then let's go to the left upper quadrant. This is the left upper quadrant. Essentially, what you can find here is the stomach. You can find the spleen. You can find the left lobe of liver. So if this is the liver and this is the right lobe, right? So, and this is the left upper quadrant. That means you can find the left lobe of liver here, this aspect. Then you can also find the stomach and also the spleen. Now let's go to the left or to the right lower quadrant. In the right lower quadrant, you can find the cecum, you can find the appendix and the right ureter. And in the left lower quadrant, you can find the left ureter and the sigmoid colon. So once again, the abdomen itself is divided into 4 quadrants by the mid-sagittal line and the transumbilical line, right? Now, it is this line that divides into 4 quadrants into the right upper, right lower, left upper, and left lower. And we've been able to discuss the organs that you can find in these regions. Now, let's move straight to the 9 regions. Now, earlier we discussed the divisions into 4 quadrants, but let's discuss its divisions into 9 quadrants. Now, the abdomen itself is divided into 9 quadrants by 2 vertical planes and 2 horizontal planes. Now, the first vertical plane is the right mid-clavicular and the left mid-clavicular. So here is the right mid-clavicular and here is the left mid-clavicular. Now, this line is drawn from the mid-clavicular point to the mid-inguinal point, to the midpoint of the clavicle around here, to the mid-inguinal point, right and left. Then the horizontal line that divides them is the subcostal plane or subcostal line. Now, this line is just below the costal margin. It's just below the costal margin. Then we also have another line called the transtubercular line, which is across the iliac tubercle. So it is this line that divides the abdomen into 9 different regions. Now, these 9 different regions, they have different names. Now, here is the right hypochondriac, here is the epigastric, this is the left hypochondriac. Here is the right lumbar, here is the umbilicus, and here is the left lumbar. Then we have the right inguinal or the right iliac, we have the hypogastric, we have the left iliac. So once again, we have the right, we have the left, so that you don't get confused. We have the right and we have the left. So in the right, we have the hypochondriac, we have the lumbar, and we have the iliac. So once you know for the right, you can easily know for the left, right? Hypochondriac, lumbar, iliac. Hypochondriac, lumbar, iliac. So depending on the side you are describing, here is the right and here is the left. So definitely this middle aspect should not be a problem for you, because this is the umbilicus. Then superior to that, we have the epigastric. Then inferior to it, we have the hypogastric. So this is epigastric, this is hypogastric, and this is the umbilicus. So right hypochondriac, right lumbar, right inguinal, left hypochondriac, left lumbar, left iliac. Then we have epigastric, umbilicus, and hypogastric. Now let's go straight to the organs you can find in each of these regions. Now, in the right hypochondriac, that is there, you can find the right lobe of liver, you can find the gallbladder, you can find the upper parts of the right kidney and parts of the small intestine. Now, at this aspect, which is the right lumbar, you can find the ascending colon, you can find the right kidney, you can also find parts of the small intestine. Now, at this aspect, which is the right iliac, you can find the appendix, you can find the cecum, and you can also find the right ovary. That is in female. That is gender specific anyway. Then let's go to the epigastric. This epigastric aspect, you can find the stomach, you can find the pancreas, you can find the duodenum, and the left lobe of liver. Now in the umbilicus, you can find the jejunum, you can find the ileum, transverse colon, lower parts of the kidneys. Then hypogastric is where you find the part of the small intestine and also the sigmoid colon. Then the left hypochondriac, which is this aspect, is where you find the fundus of stomach. We'll still get to that because stomach has different parts. You find the fundus of stomach, you find the spleen, you also find the tail of the pancreas, and also the upper part of the left kidney. Now this left lumbar, this aspect is where you find the descending colon and the left kidney, while this left iliac is where you find the sigmoid colon and the lower descending colon. So I believe that with this, you understand divisions of the abdomen into 4 quadrants and into 9 regions and why we do them. So if you have questions, just drop them in the comment section and I will do it to attend to it. See you next class. Thank you.